Hey loves, it's your girl MariahSincere, and I'm coming at y'all with a very special live because today is my birthday. I turned 33 today, so I am in my Jesus year. And yes, I know that might bother y'all. Some of y'all, my real ones, my supporters, the ones that are not hating, y'all not bothered. But yes, I'm a 33-year-old single mother, baby mama in the Dominican Republic right now. My daughter is with her dad, and I'm having a ball. I'm having the time of my life. The DR is treating me right. So right. Thank you so much, Icky. Thank you for pulling up for my birthday. So right, look, I got this caffeine water. I ain't got no drinks yet. But y'all, we gonna have a good show today. I intend to turn up. My friends who were staying in the Airbnb with me, shout out to my friends for coming out, celebrating. We're doing good content. These are my friends who I do network marketing with. So if you're interested in getting into that, you can look at the description in my bio for those of y'all who want a way to make money while you travel. Also, for those of y'all who are interested in getting into the tech field, there is a staff agency that I partner with that will get you hired if you already have the credentials. And if not, you'll get interviews within your first week. And if not, they will send you to a boot camp that they partner with, and you can get your credentials. Thank you so much, Jay Travels. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. You super fine. Thank you. Every now and then I pop my shit, y'all. Every now and then I come out and I do a little something. So I'm excited. I'm very happy. Y'all, this past year has really been a testament in what it looks like when you put like a little faith in yourself and you put a lot of faith in God. And I really stepped out with a lot of my business ventures this year. I really stepped out in terms of like even just for the past few months being more consistent here on YouTube. And it has been paying off. Like everything that, again, I was off of YouTube until people started coming for me for my Instagram posts. And then, of course, I got on here and responded. But it's like everything that the devil sent to destroy me that was supposed to be meant for my bad, was supposed to make me fold, actually has been working out in my favor. And, God will really prepare a table for you in front of your enemies. But honestly and truly, I'm just more happy that God is preparing a table for me in front of people who want to do the same thing that I'm doing, right? Honestly and truly, because you always are going to deal with some opposition and anything. Like, it's not just me. Anything you do in life, you're going to deal with opposition. You're going to deal with people trying to discourage you. You're going to deal with people trying to pick at you. But at the end of the day, God has got the final say, and people will show up out of nowhere. Like, it will be complete strangers who will see value in what you do, and they'll give you the support that you need to keep going. So I'm so thankful to see another year. But you're here though. You're here though. Thank you for showing up. Clown that name homie sub. He has to pay hookers for his B-Day. Sad. Meanwhile, Dominican dudes want to take me out for free for my birthday. Come visit Ecuador for peace. I've been to Ecuador, and I think that Ecuador is a hidden gem, and I would actually like to explore. I'm not going to say it's hidden because people know where Ecuador is, but it doesn't get the hype that it deserves because it's in between Peru, that has like the amazing international food scene and traditional food scene. And then on top of that, Colombia is next door, and it's known for its super beautiful women. And Ecuador has such friendly people, amazing food, lots of culture. The historic center in the capital, Quito, is breathtakingly gorgeous. And I would love to show y'all more of that. The passport bro movement is associated with Floyd type niggas. Guys, actually, I'm going to talk about that today. And I know some of y'all are like, well, why would you be talking about that? You're a woman. Well, to be honest, majority of my audience is male. Majority of my audience is male. And I think it's important for sometimes us to kind of like reach across the table and come to an understanding. And me personally, some might not agree with this because I don't always agree with everything associated with the passport bro movement. But I think I have done a very good job, especially when I talk to women one-on-one, communicating with women and making them understand why men might go abroad to look for love or just to start a new life. So I have tried my best to be fair, balanced, and empathetic. Now, as far as whether or not, hey, thank you, Mr. Davis. Happy birthday. Okay, Mr. OG Davis in the building. Yes, Gemini gang, we going up. We going up. I'm going to review the interview that Jamie Woods did with the OG passport bro. Okay, so I got that coming. I'm going to react to that. With that said, let me be very clear before we even get going. I don't think that men are going to stop traveling and moving abroad. And honestly and truly, I think the narrative that people want men to stop traveling and moving abroad and getting married, I honestly think that it shows a lack of nuance. Y'all know my opinion on here. I've said this multiple times. I've said this for years. I will continue to say this, and I've been very consistent. I think people should go where they can win, period. Wherever they can win. I think people should go where they can win, and that includes men. Now, some of these men want to move abroad so that they can, is this it? Some of these people want to move abroad so that they can start a business, so they can get ahead economically. And with that, that comes dating, right? If you're a man, that comes dating the local women. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Actually, men have been doing that since men have been going to war. We can really take this all the way back to a lot of the veterans with World War I. Period. There are some men who have decided, I can't win in this dating market. Thank you so much, Icky. Happy 33rd birthday. 3 + 3 = 6, which means you've just entered your nurturing year. May this year bring you abundant love, creativity, and peace. Keep shining. God bless you. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. God bless you. I really appreciate that. But okay, going back to what I was saying, there are some men who have decided, and reasonably so, that they cannot win in the dating market in the United States. Whether it be that it's hard to find somebody that matches their cultural values, or it's hard to find somebody that they are attracted to. That is fair. I think that is fair. And you should go into the dating market where you can, even now, I'm like reconsidering, because I'm like, when I was in Colombia, y'all know I was not dating in Colombia. And it's because Colombian men are not really my type, to be honest. Not just in, especially the ones in Medellin, not just in looks, but in personality. And then I'm like, I'm here in the Dominican Republic, and I'm like, it's my type is all around. You know what I'm saying? And that does give you a different feeling. It gives you hope, like, oh, it's possible for me. And, you know, I can actually kind of see myself. So y'all might be seeing a move to the Dominican Republic. Y'all might, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Many co-line friends who are girls, due to meet you, they find them very clingy with no space. Kevin, can you rewrite that? I don't understand what you were saying. Can you retype that, please? The thing is that a lot of passport bros just want easy, desperate, vulnerable women. They are unable to have normal interactions with normal women. And that's why I do want to review this interview that I saw that Jamie did with the original passport bro, the man who coined the term passport bro. Because first of all, let me say this. Shout out to the brother for starting the movement. Again, he coined the term, but men have been being passport bros, again, since men were able to travel, starting with the military. I do think that the movement started with good intentions, and I honestly don't believe, and I've seen for myself, that not every man who was moving abroad and is traveling from the United States is just a lame who couldn't get any play. However, every movement that you start, a lot of the times it's going to come with some unintended consequences, especially when it's attracting immature people. And unfortunately, what happened with the passport bro movement is that this became a situation where you had a lot of men who ain't never seen shit, been nowhere, join the movement and tarnish it. You had a lot of men who, like you were saying, can't talk to anybody, don't know how to communicate with women, and don't understand why they are the problem, think that they were going to pack their bags and go somewhere else and that their whole life was going to change. And yeah, to an extent, whenever you move abroad, your life is going to change. But there's that saying that everywhere you go, there you are. And that is so true, y'all. I had to learn this about me. There were some things that I was blaming being in the United States for on the United States. Okay. And it's not necessarily dating or anything like that. Just some things that weren't necessarily working out for me in life. And I was always blaming the United States, right? And in reality, all of that, all those things that I needed to change, I carried those things with me. Okay, I carried those things back with me to the United States. And to these, when I went to Colombia. And then I had to learn that it was me all along, and I had to grow and I had to change. Okay. I'm looking for this interview with Jamie. So again, you have a lot of people who are too immature to do any type of introspection. And they want to blame everybody else for why people see them negatively. Now, is the interview not up with Jamie? Let me see. Did Jamie take the interview down? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Or can I just not see it? Let me see. Maybe it's...
Guys.
Let me go on this channel. Here we go. Found it. Oh, I was worried, y'all, because I said I got to react to this video for y'all. Got to react to this. Yeah, I've met a lot of men abroad. So this narrative that these men are going abroad and they're not getting married, a lot of these men are. You just don't see them. They're not on the internet. What's up, T-Mac? Aaron Ferris coined the term. He also goes by BMT. Thank you so much for the birthday wishing. Okay, I'm going to address this. DR is the land of Sankey Panky. Women who pay these men for sex. Let's see if you cover that on your channel. Actually, I learned about the same. I went to the beach a couple days ago, and I learned about the Sankey Pankies. Yeah, so I actually saw some. I'm going to say this. That's not like the majority of the men here. Yeah, you're gonna, any country you go to, even in the United States, there are men who are gigolos, who use women for money, who sleep with unattractive women for money. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Because first of all, you're not getting no money. And if anything, people be like, oh, men in Colombia or DR are gonna want to use you for a visa. I need them for a visa. Let's be very clear. And I'm very upfront about mine. I'm the one that needs the visa. Okay? Let's be so for real. So those are not things that I'm concerned about because nobody's getting those things out of me. Sorry, they're just not. But I have talked about women who come to Latin America. I've covered that. Women who come to Latin America and pay for sex. Absolutely, I have. What's up, Ababa? Hey, the African Wolf. Now, without further ado, let me go ahead and pull this interaction up, this interview up, so that I can react to it and give y'all my humble opinion. Now, again, this is on Jamie Wood's channel, Travel and Motivate Unfiltered.
As you know, BMT.
Now, I've already watched some of this through, and I'm just going to explain to y'all some of my thoughts about it. So I already have questions about this title and also about what the manner in which they're going to discuss this. And some of y'all are not going to like what I have to say, but it must be said. Again, shout out to this brother. Let me be very clear. As I was listening to him, he does not come off to me as a man who could not get a woman in the United States. And I say that because I see men like him married all the time with a wife. Okay. Now, are they married to like the baddest chick? No, but I've seen men like this be able to get good wives, right? So he doesn't come off as a lame or a loser to me, but I digress. So the title of this is The Media Wants Passport Bros to Fail. Okay. So let's begin without further ado.
I haven't seen a video where a bunch of guys with Passport Bros t-shirts are, running around the country, colonizing and, taking advantage of the women. I still haven't seen that video because that video doesn't exist because that's not what it's about. But it's really just the media and people that hate the idea of guys from the West being able to, travel overseas and find genuine relationships.
Hey, Jamie Woods, we here to travel and motivate. No curry, we just trying to keep our minds in the Golden State. We answer to nobody but the Lord.
With another fire interview. And today's interview is going to be ginormous, ladies and gentlemen. So guys, definitely make sure to hit the like buttons. The subscribe button is free $99. I'm going to keep reminding you guys this all the time. All right. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We're going to have some fire interviews for the rest of.
Y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe on this video too and the like button. Share this video if you care.
2026 and going beyond that. But of course, guys, also comment down below. Let me know what you guys think because this is going to be a very interesting video. Make sure to check out the Patreon. I got a lot of hidden gems there. But guys, this isn't about me. This is about my guest because my guest here is probably one of the biggest interviews I've ever done, to be honest. Like, this is definitely up there with the Austin Hellman interview. This gentleman right here, I've been following for a while. I told him backstage, bro, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I love what you're doing. He has one of the biggest YouTube channels in the space, for real, and it's such an honor to have him on. Of course, he's the originator of the Passport Bros term. I'm talking about my friend over here.
Guys, I am so sorry. Before I show you this, thank you to Brian, because he just put the question, Passport Bros Civil War. And I don't want y'all to think that the title was clickbait. There's a reason why that's in the title, and I need to show y'all a clip from my friend's YouTube channel. Shout out to Robert from Remote Living Gringo. Now, he is a friend of the show. I have interviewed him on my channel before, and we have talked about the Passport Bros movement as it pertains to Medellin, Colombia. Okay, so there's a reason why. So he's getting a lot of flack because he reacted to this interview. So I think it's important that I show y'all exactly what he said. And basically, he's saying that the movement is dead. He's saying the movement is dead, it's over, and that Passport Bros should just disassociate from that entire term, okay? Now, again, this is not what I am saying. This is what he is proposing. And I agree with him for the most part on some things, but then I don't agree with him on everything that he said, okay? So you will see, did Robert's page get taken down? I hope not. Oh no, I'll let this keep playing while I look for it.
Here, BMT, how you doing, man?
What's good, bro? How's everything going with your player?
Everything's going good, man. How about you?
Everything is lovely, man. Recently married. Got married a couple of months ago. And I also had my first newborn daughter a week ago. So everything is lovely out here, man. I consider myself to be somewhat of a retired Passport Bro now.
The rate of new business creation on Stripe in March, it's up almost 2x year over year.
It was one of the early examples of AI.
Yeah, no, congrats. I honestly did not know any of that, man. So that's good to hear, man. So are you like now relocated in Pattaya? Because I know you were living in DR for a while.
Right. Yeah. I lived in DR previous to coming out here. But yeah, I'm in like the North Pattaya side. In my area, it's not like the party zone or anything like that. This is pretty much like a residential side of Pattaya, like going towards Bangkok. So it's a lot of, Thais, and you got some Russian foreigners as well. But, I'm like in the low key side of Pattaya.
All right, that's good, man. Congrats again. But BMT, I wanted actually to speak to you about the Passport Bro movement, because when I think about the Passport Bro movement, I think about a couple key figures, but you're one of those key figures because you originated that term. Can you go over what a Passport Bro means to you?
All right, cool. I was just asked this yesterday by my man Philly Dawn, did an interview with him as well.
Okay, so Melvin, I can't find his page. I made sure he had no reason to block me, but I looked from several other profiles. Robert Eaton's page from Remote Living Gringo has been taken down. I know he had made several videos saying that people were trying to get his page taken down. So I don't know if Instagram took that down or if that was something of his own doing. But Melvin confirms that Brother Robert Eaton's page is gone. I hope that if he got it taken away, he was able to get it back. But I know he was getting a lot of flack. Basically, the gist of what he's saying is that the movement is over, and he doesn't like that this man right here is not taking responsibility for some of the reasons why it went left and is not being honest. Now, I'm going to say this. Just because somebody coined a term doesn't mean it's their fault, right? That the movement went left. A lot of the road to hell is oftentimes paved with good intentions. And but I can see why people are saying that he's not taking accountability. So you will see. I don't think it's all the way fair to blame him, because at the same time, grown men are responsible for their actions. But y'all are going to see this conversation is not all the way being had with intellectual honesty, in my opinion. What up, Jeremiah? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Shout out to Philly Dawn, man. I miss Philly Dawn.
Yeah. Passport Bros, man. First and foremost, I know a lot of people call it a movement, and you can kind of consider it to be a movement. But I like to call it an ideology. It's like a mindset, right? It's a mindset of pretty much global arbitrage, where you are, thinking about like the cost of living in the West, and you want like a more easier lifestyle, as far as not necessarily easier, but a better lifestyle where you can kind of focus more on building relationships, learning languages, learning different cultures, and traveling the world, man. It's like really the cheat code. Being global. Like if the West is just, too much going on, too many protests, too many political things going on, cost of living is through the roof right now, then it's a good alternative to have. Now, everybody, should be traveling, of course. As far as just the definition of the term, it's just guys that's looking for traditional relationships, myself getting married, long-term relationships. Some guys like to, party and date. It took me a couple of years to find my wife, so I definitely understand that as well. But to make it everything short and compact, it's just basically, having a global lifestyle. That's what a Passport Bro is.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, man. I definitely wanted to.
Now, notice how he didn't really mention going abroad to find a woman. Well, he did. He was like going to find traditional relationships. But here's the problem. This is where the message gets confusing, especially for women. And I've told y'all this before. A lot of these men are saying, I'm going abroad to find a traditional relationship. But then you have a lot of the men who are making content, and every other video is a different girl. Or they're showing every time they go to a new country, they're sleeping with and hanging out with new women. So guess what people say? Are you looking for a wife, or are you looking to sleep around? Because you're not behaving in a traditional sense. You're not behaving as somebody who is interested in marriage. So what I've seen happen with the men who, Austin Holloman is a great example of this. Austin Holloman left when he was young. And of course he dated around. We saw him sleeping with a lot of women. I don't know if he was doing pay for play, but we saw multiple women in his videos. So it was very clear that he was not interested in a wife. He was talking about how these women were better and he was getting treated better and the better treatment. But then what this looks like, and y'all have to understand, you have to be fair here. What this looks like to an American woman, when you say, we are going abroad to find fit, feminine, and friendly, and you're finding that, and you're still running through them, that makes an American woman go, well, that's not really what it's about. Or what's the point in us changing some of our ways over here if at the end of the day, these women are going to get dogged out until you're ready to settle down anyway? Y'all have to understand that does not make sense to a lot of women, and why a lot of women are not understanding of the movement. It's not solely, oh, they're hating on y'all or they're jealous or they don't want you to go date other women. Furthermore, a lot of these women would not even be speaking on the Passport Bros if they weren't constantly comparing foreign women to American women. See, men have been moving abroad, finding wives for years. I've seen so many Asian men, white men with these Asian women that they went and found in Indochina. Okay? Nobody ever said anything or cared. But what did Black men do? I just have to be honest here. Black men came on the internet and in an effort to try to like rub it in the women's faces back home that they were going abroad and finding better, you drew attention to what you were doing. So now if you're telling women, oh, these women are better than you and XYZ, now the women are going to watch. They're watching you. They're watching what you're doing. And they're trying to see if what you're saying is worth a damn. And y'all have to understand this. It has to make sense. Okay? It takes exception when people give me labels. I have been accused of being a passport bro by people just because I live abroad. There are good brothers that use the term, but also some pookies. I can understand that. And that's why I say there is kind of like, there are some men who, for example, if you go on Andre from Love Crossing Borders channel, he's always talking mess about the men who come just to do the pay for play or to sleep around with a whole bunch of women. So there really are factions within the movement. That traditional word is thrown around way too much. Ninjas just need to stop complaining, work 2 jobs, and just be quiet, okay? Because here's the thing, y'all, we're not going back. We're not going back. Y'all be thinking y'all found something traditional and then problems come with that. Finding a wife is one thing. Going to another country just to get some is another. Yeah, 2 completely different things.
Hear through you what you thought about that term, because a lot of people and it kind of gets me annoyed a little bit, BMT, to be honest with you, because the thing is now that this boom has happened with the Passport Bro movement and a lot more brothers are now traveling more than ever. I would consider this one of the golden ages of traveling because everyone's doing it now. I remember before I would be in my neighborhood because I'm from the tri-state area.
I'm gonna put y'all on here. Hey y'all, okay. So these are my friends. Y'all come say hey. Yeah, can we go after my come now Tara, come over here with your fine self. You is looking cute. Y'all, this is my friend Tara. Hold on. Now come over here so the people can see you.
Hey y'all.
Hey, crazy. We've been over here in Dominican Republic. They just got back. Come on, Dooney. Y'all, I had Dooney on. Why you this way? You want to come say hey? Y'all, Dooney, I interviewed him. He does travel marketing for those of y'all who are interested. We work together doing that. So y'all, we finna turn up. So if y'all don't follow me on,
great time tonight. It's my girl's birthday. Y'all better send some coins or whatever y'all doing here. Give my girl some money, y'all. We about to have her drunk tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah. So if y'all would like to contribute to my drinking fund tonight, okay, the Cash App is right there. Okay, because if you send it in a super chat, I'm not gonna get it to the end of the month. So send it to the Cash App so I can spend that shit. Okay, you dropped the Cash App. Thank you, T-Mac. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Bless you. I know that's right, T-Mac. Come through. I appreciate you. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get back to the video. Somebody, Tiara, somebody said, I love me some chocolate bunnies. Not chocolate bunny.
Tell her going so that she can come back and camera.
Yeah. Cash to see Tiara again, baby. Okay, she dragging that wagon. Those round and browns are cute. I know that's right.
Yeah, I'm still in the tri-state area as we speak here in the United States, and a lot of my friends have never been outside the state before. You know, so now more than ever, people are actually traveling, and the thing is, now that more people are traveling, there's also a lot of bad apples alongside with that, and a lot of them, what they're doing is they're recording certain things, you know, publicity stunts, whatever the case is, to get views on YouTube, and they're claiming that they're passport bros, and it's making all of us look bad, because at the end of the day, BMT, all of us colored folk, we get put into one box, you know, and the thing is, that box is the passport bros boxes. That's the popular term out there, and so they put the sex tourists, all the crazy motherfuckers, they put all of us in there together, and I don't think that's fair to everyone that's traveling. But what's your overall opinion on what's going on with that term now?
Okay, fair matters not. I'm going to say this again. Fair matters not. And it comes back to the point that I was saying, and what he's talking about. As a person of color, you're going to get blamed for a lot of things that people in your community do. But here's the thing. Every race has things that they get stereotyped for. And here's the thing, it wouldn't even be so much of a problem. For example, y'all know I've talked about a lot of the problems that plague the African-American community back home. And here's the thing, you are going to have bad apples in every group, but the problem is that people don't really see us loudly condemning the bad apples enough. When people see you, or most people, making excuses for the bad apples or attacking the people who are speaking up against the bad apples, then they begin to say that whole community as a whole is rotten, or doesn't take accountability, or doesn't check their own. Do y'all understand? Kind of like, for example, when I made my videos on Instagram and I said that the Colombian government is inadmitting men when they are finding you with boxes of condoms in your bags. And instead of people getting upset about the people who forced their hand, what'd you say?
I didn't get my condoms.
Not he needs to get not he needs to get his condoms. The people who forced their hand for them to do this because they were coming down here wilding, they get upset at the messenger. Then it's, oh, people are just hating, people don't be doing this and that, instead of saying, you know what, people were going down there doing too much. And now the government is forced to respond because their people want them to respond.
On 2026.
You know, like we are a victim of the popularity of the term passport bros because it's so triggering. It's like a cool term. It's pretty much the bros at the end signals that it's just for the guys, right? And then you're talking about passport on the front of it. Like that signals that guys, can have resources enough to travel the world. And some people got triggered by that, right?
That's not true. They're not speaking about this honestly. Let's be so for real. People did not even know what Passport Bros was until Austin Holloman went viral. Do y'all remember that? So before Austin Holloman, Passport Bros was really like a subculture that the mainstream American public didn't really know about. And then do y'all remember he got into that situation with Brazil? Mind you, he was at that time claiming to be a passport bro. And again, I like Austin, but we got to call a spade a spade. He was out there wilding just a little bit. He ended up getting featured on Brazilian news. He was on CNN. And there was a whole bunch of, and then he made that video that went viral where he talked about the problems with dating American women. So it had absolutely nothing to do with men having the resources to move abroad or calling themselves bros or anything like that. That entire movement became popularized based off of controversy.
And then, unfortunately, passport bros got drugged into the gender war, on TikTok.
And who drugged, like, again, and I'm not blaming this all on Austin. I'm not saying he was the first one to do it. He was the first one to go viral doing it. It was the men who were like, if men never got on the internet and were like, these women are better than these women because they're cooking and doing all that stuff that y'all know triggers a lot of feminist women or just Western women, it wouldn't have been included in the gender war at all. So, and that's what I'm saying. We're not being, this conversation, they're not being honest. It's all, we're the victim here, we're the victim. The media just spun it, and that's not at all what happened. What's up, Backshot Delivery? And y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all remember that? Nobody was checking for the passport bros in terms of being up in y'all business until Austin Holloman went viral.
That I wasn't even on at first, shout out to Austin Holloman. You know what I'm saying? So us being drugged into that gender war, that's when we got on the bad side of the media, basically, the feminist leading media that has demonized the phrase and falsely framed the passport bros in almost every publication that they can. Every now and then you'll get.
It's not just the media or and here's the thing: people can only go by what they know. So if you have a lot of men, again, most of the passport bros who are going abroad and getting married, they're not on the internet. The success stories or the men who went abroad and went to go focus on themselves, build and get a wife, they're not on the internet. So people can only know what they see. And if the majority of the passport bros who are becoming popular and are going viral are the ones who were sitting up showing the women and showing the propagos and the party and the nightlife, can we really blame the women or, the feminist media or whatever we want to call it for characterizing the movement as that, especially when these men are claiming this term?
Some positive or some balanced outlooks, with blogs and certain videos and certain documentaries about the passport bros. But for the most part, anything masculine, anything free thinking, anything that liberates guys from that Western matrix is going to be demonized by the media. Like I said, I still haven't seen a video where a bunch of guys with passport bros t-shirts are, running around the country, colonizing and, taking advantage of the women. I still haven't seen that video because that video doesn't exist.
This is where I'm talking about. He's not being intellectually honest when he's having these conversations. Men don't need to put on t-shirts that say passport bros in order and be recorded running around, running amok, in order for people to characterize the movement as that. They don't have to wear t-shirts. They're getting on the internet, recording themselves running amok and saying that they're passport bros. They don't have to put on a t-shirt. Locals are recording them running amok. And then you go find these people on social media and they're claiming to be passport bros. So the argument that just because men are not putting on t-shirts saying that they're passport bros means that this is a false narrative created by the media. That's just simply not true. This is a narrative that is being created by a faction of the movement. That's not all of the men, but a good amount, who left the United States so that they could have more sexual access to women. And it is about sex primarily. Who ain't never, it's the ones that ain't used to coochie, acting like they ain't never been there. So let's take the blame off of the media and put it on the bad apples, and people will respect it more. And this is the this is the crux of the problem. When you're not willing to check from within, and you're steady looking outward to post blame, the problem never actually gets solved. I think you should arrange a one-on-one session with BMT himself. There are so many gaps in your explanation. I don't think there's any. I'm very thorough. I'm only responding to what he's saying. I would love to interview him, not a problem, but I'm very thorough in the way that I articulate things and break things down. I understand that what he's saying about he started it out of wanting to have financial arbitrage and wanting to build himself and wanting to have more traditional relationships. I don't think I misunderstood him. Where we are not seeing eye to eye is that he is placing the primary blame for why the movement has such a bad reputation on media misrepresentation. When all the media has to go off of is how men who are calling themselves passport bros have presented themselves. And then he's trying to paint it as this great scheme or plot to undermine the movement on behalf of the media, when it's not that at all. Again, men have been doing this for decades and nobody cared. Social media, these men getting on social media and going viral is what brought it to the attention of the masses. There are several married expat channels. People like negativity. I just don't think many people are aware of them. I can name about 5 or 6. The married content is just more mature, so they don't get much attention. They don't get much attention, and that's with anything. This doesn't just have to do specifically with passport bros. It could be any topic that we're talking about, whether it be relationships, traveling abroad, politics. People who are fair and balanced have a much harder time getting seen. Even on my my Instagram page, every time I post content where I'm actually showing y'all things that I'm doing or things that you can do while you're in these countries, it doesn't get pushed the way that my topics get pushed when I talk about controversial topics where people might agree and disagree. And I don't view it as like some grand scheme against me. I think a lot of these companies want to push what brings engagement. And unfortunately, human beings in general are attracted to controversy and negativity. But you're right. There are married channels. Now, I can name maybe about 2 or 3. The one that I watch the most is of course, Love Crossing Borders. Unfortunately, the Dusty channels get most of the attention, and it is very unfortunate. It is.
But that's not what it's about. But it's really just the media and people that hate the idea of guys from the West being able to, travel overseas and find genuine relationships. So that's really where it comes from.
I agree with you because I think the thing about passport bros and men traveling abroad is that it presents a threat here in the United States, because now more guys are like waking up and they're like, yo, we don't just have to stay here. We can move somewhere else for a better lifestyle, better food, better quality of living. And on top of that,
this is why I think that's delusional. I'm going to be honest. Some of y'all are going to hate what I have to say, but this is just the truth. A lot of, not all, but like some of these men that are part of the passport movement, a lot of Americans, this is not like on gender lines, would love to see that these men are leaving the country. I'm just being honest. Love to see, not all of them, but like especially the bad apples, they want them to be gone. Flee, get on. Also, y'all have to look at it like this. There are men moving abroad, taking their US dollar, building in other countries. And at the same time, there are men from other countries that for a very long time have been flooding into the United States. I genuinely don't believe that that is a major concern. It wasn't a major concern before social media. And yes, more people are moving out of the United States than, like, I think this is the most that people have left the United States since the Great Depression. So this is not the first time people have fled the United States in droves. It probably won't be the last time. And I do think there will come a time where it levels out. But I just don't buy into the narrative that people are, you know, the government is just trying to keep its citizens within its. I don't buy into that. I think the explanation is far more simple. People doing too much on social media. It's really that simple. Hey, Jamal, what's up? Evening, Queen Mariah. Blessings to see you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you. Y'all know it's my birthday today. So this is an Airbnb here in the Dominican Republic. The narrative in the mainstream media is misconceptions that Passport Bros movement is only for Black brothers. But here's the thing, Michael. I had Passport Bros coming at me last month because first they say I don't post stories about white men, which is not true. Okay, I do. And then when I post the stories about the negative behaviors of the white men, then the narrative is, why are you bringing them up? They're not Passport Bros. And it's like, well, what is it? Is this term exclusively for Black men? Or do you want all other groups disassociated? Do you want us to talk about the bad behaviors of other races of men? Or do you want us to like completely ignore it? Like, here's the thing. The movement itself is having an identity crisis. Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate you. Yeah, I try to speak facts, player with the passport. So the movement hasn't decided. And here's the thing. Whenever you have, you know, hundreds of thousands of people in one movement, there's always going to be an identity crisis that develops because most people, like two people, have a hard time disagreeing, let alone all these people.
Dating, you know, and so I think that presents a risk to a lot of people, a lot of women here, for example, that have an issue with that because now they feel a lot of these men are leaving them behind. And it's to the point, BMT,
that's not true.
Where
as a woman, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. Some of y'all are not going to like this. Based on conversations I've had with women and based on what I feel as a woman, these women don't feel left behind. And I try to explain this to women who are like, they're disgusting or they're just going to get cheaper coochie. And it's like, yeah, but you don't want most of these men. Like you don't want them. You wouldn't date them. If they approached them, you wouldn't even date them. I think it's just, we just tend to be hypercritical of men in general, but I wouldn't say that's a feeling of being left behind because the reality of the matter is that if the majority of these men stayed in the United States, they would not be having good outcomes with the women, hence why they left. So the women don't feel left behind. I think that a lot of women, just honestly and truly, it's a situation where the women feel criticized because you have men who went viral pulling the movement into the gender wars. So obviously there's going to be a back and forth. Whenever you're comparing one group of women to another group of women or one group of women to groups of women all around the world. So there's going to be a natural need for women to feel defensive. And then there's that other part of women just being hypercritical and wanting to talk shit about men that they want absolutely nothing to do with. And that's just the reality of the matter. Yeah, it's very confusing. The Passport Bros movement is very popular among the white bros here in Western Europe. Yeah, I've seen it. There are so many German men. People don't talk about the fact that a lot of these Western European countries, do have stronger passports than the United States. I think we have the 10th strongest. We're like ranked number 10. And just because we're ranked number 10 doesn't mean that there are like only 10 countries who have a passport that's better than ours. They're like, here's the thing, how those rankings work. You might have 3 different countries that are ranked at number 5. So there are a lot of countries with stronger passports than ours, especially in Western Europe. And those German men are coming to Colombia in droves. Now, Tierra, you hold on, you better make them go wild. Where y'all going? Okay. Okay. Anyway, now what I will say is, I don't know why German men are going to Colombia, because they so dry. I don't even know why. They don't even go together. German man and Colombian woman. It make absolutely no sense. But I digress. Many of the expats I know are either military veterans and or divorced. The visitors who travel for paper play are different. I see many pookies, but most of them could not afford to live abroad. Is this true? This is true. And that's why I say this goes back to men have been doing this since World War I. A lot of them would go to war in these countries, decide they like it, find them a little woman over there and stay. Or completely defect from the military, take on a new identity and stay. And it was so under the radar. And I really feel bad for the veterans who have been doing this. And now they've gotten so much attention drawn onto. I know they hate that entire movement.
The clubs, there's rumors and certain videos floating around on the internet. I don't know if you've seen them, of clubs full of women and no men around whatsoever. Like, there's certain women complaining, where the men at, where the men at, where the men at. And they're blaming it on the passport bro movement. And so they're trying to find ways of getting back. Of course, there's been incidents over the last couple years of guys overseas doing stupid stuff overseas, calling themselves a passport bro. Whether that's, Now,
I have not seen video. Here's the thing. Club culture in the United States is just terrible to begin with, because people come to hold up the wall. The women dancing with each other, the men standing on the wall looking. And I haven't seen women blaming. I think, Jamie, did you make that up? I respect you and what you do, brother. But me as a woman, I have never heard women blame the passport bros and men leaving the country for as to why the club is empty or men are not coming to the club. But furthermore, I see plenty of men are going to the club. They just prefer to be in each other's company. And these are men just staying in the country. You'll see men in the United States going to the club and there's a male rapper who's on the stage. And whereas they used to kind of let the ladies be in the front, they more groupies than the women now. You get what I'm trying to say? I haven't heard that. And if a woman has said that, that's completely irrational. There are 1,000,001 other things to blame on why clubs are empty or men are not going to clubs before I would blame passport bro. There are not enough of them leaving. Y'all gotta understand, though it might seem like a lot to us because we travel and these are the conversations that we're having, there just simply aren't enough men leaving for it to make that much of a difference, especially when you're going to the club on the weekend. Okay, can you send it to me? I don't know if you tried to drop it in the chat, but I don't see it. So whenever you get an opportunity, my Instagram is in the description if you want to send it. Okay, guys, if y'all are just now coming in, hit the like. Again, it is my birthday today. This is my birthday live. So my dinner is at 7:30. So I'm on here until it's time for us to go. Okay.
Women on screen or basically, stuff with children, of course, which I don't condone. And so it gets, it comes back to the passport bros. They'll say, oh, passport bro did this, passport bro did that, because it grabs attention, unlike them just saying, oh, an American man or a British man or whatever, they always say passport bro as the head.
Okay, but here's the thing he don't understand with that. If they just said American men, guess what? People got to think about the stuff they say before they say it. If they say an American man did this, and every time people look up, it's an American man in the media, then guess what? Somebody still gets demonized. Now, instead of it just being a subset of American men, it's all American men. And guess what? That still is going to come with negative consequences and repercussions from these countries. So either way it goes, somebody got to take the fall for this behavior. Yes, stand up. Shout out to all my Gemini gang. Can I say gang?
Headline instead of it being something else, because they know that's going to grab their attention, and they have an agenda that is against passport bros and men's traveling. They want us to stay here in the United States. And BMT, on top of that, I know I'm kind of giving a lecture over here, but it is annoying because, you know, I'm experiencing these things here in the United States. But every time I tell women here that I travel, you should see their faces. You know, I just say I'm traveling. I'm not saying I'm dating overseas. I'm not saying I'm doing anything else. I'm just saying I travel overseas. And you should see the way they look at me. They give me like that, like, he's one of those type of guys. And I'm like, damn, you can't even travel anymore without people even look at you funny.
I mean, but here's the thing. To be fair, people have that perception of all people who travel. So, for example, me as a woman, if I tell, what happened? Okay, if I tell men that I travel, you have people like the Homies Hub.
I just built a budgeting app.
Hold on.
What? How? Base 44. Look.
Getting on the internet, making up the narrative that I travel for peen. So you're going to always get those looks as somebody who travels. And it doesn't help that, you know, the passport bros have gotten bad press and brought a lot of negative attention to men because we've been able to see a lot of the pay for play that's going on overseas that honestly, as Americans, we were pretty much sheltered from. But at the same time, if you travel as a woman, the assumption is that you have an old guy paying for you on every trip that you go and that you're sleeping with old men or that you're going to places like Dubai and being a human porta potty, or that in every new country that you go to, you're having sex with a new man. So travelers in general just get a bad reputation, and it's not unfounded. I don't think it's unreasonable for men to have the negative perception that women do a lot of sleeping around when they travel, because let's just be so for real. And I didn't realize this until I started actually talking to women who travel a lot. A lot of women do see, like, it's not that they're traveling to sleep with men, because women don't have to do that. But a lot of women are like, oh, I'm just having a whole bunch of flings. So they'll travel and have a fling in multiple countries. And to them, that's just like, that's normal behavior. And it's like, man, you're not like, here's the thing. Once we sleep together, we go together. Like, I don't understand it. Once we sleep together, we go together real bad. So that was such a foreign concept to me, that women are traveling and they're being that promiscuous when they travel. American women have always, hey, checkmate, associated South America for men going down there just to sleep with women. My mom told me that when I was young. Well, maybe that's true. I had no clue. No, hold on. No disrespect, my great Mariah, but I've been saying no beautiful woman should pay for her own vacation. I mean, that's not disrespectful. And guess what? Men, a lot of times men having the assumption that we shouldn't is the reason why they think that we're not. You know, but a lot of us are paying for our own travel and vacation and are not sleeping with men for trips. my ad? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I lost the video. Where is it at? Oh, shit. Did I exit out? Hold on, y'all. I have multiple tabs and screens going. Where is this? Y'all, now I done got lost. Here it is.
Pulls all our expenses into one place and
Right. And you know what? The funny thing is, man, you know, Passport Bros kind of stemmed from my original my original blog and Facebook group called Black Men Travels.
Mhm.
And I remember even when it was called Black Men Travels, it was somewhat controversial. You know, I had two incidents when I coined the phrase Black Men Travels, right? The first one was when I registered the domain name at GoDaddy. The woman was a sister on the end of the GoDaddy customer service. And, you know, I said I wanted the website to be called Black Men Travels. And she was like, are you sure? You know, they do. I didn't know Black men travel like that. And I'm like, okay, that was the first little, okay, what you mean you don't know, but yeah, brothers be traveling. The second was my first time going to Brazil in 2017 when Brazil required a visa and I had to get it expedited quickly. So I went to this expediting office up there in Marietta, Georgia, and it was a sister, and she was like drilling me on why was I going to Brazil solo? Like, who are you going with? And I was just like, wait a minute, should you be asking me all these questions? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was a problem even before the passport.
And really, here's the thing. I'm going to be 1,000% fair. Now, women will ask those questions if we suspect that y'all going to do pay for play, but really, it's none of your business, girl. I have never, first of all, shout out to Lawrence. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate you. I will be spending that tonight. It's not your business, ladies. It's really, if I got any women watching that, that's not really, sometimes the spirit in which you ask something matters. So there are people who are genuinely curious. Oh, because I've had people, I tell people, I'm traveling, I'm going to this place. Well, why are you going there? Well, what you got going over there? You got friends or family, right? And those are reasonable questions to ask, but you have to watch your tone. If you sound like you're demanding something from somebody or you're being accusatory, that's not going to rub people the right way. And ultimately, it's really none of your business. And nobody owes you an explanation as to why you travel. I promise you, I have never questioned any of the men that I have met while abroad as to why they are traveling. Now, if they want to offer up that information or we start talking about their background, then yeah, it comes up. And a lot of the times, if you hang out with these men and y'all become friends, you'll know what type of time they're on. There's no need for the third degree. And I'm saying that as somebody, I'm a Gemini. Don't be asking me all these 51 million questions. It's not your business. Point blank, period. Thank you, Jamal. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. It's never made sense to me why people care what other people do in their personal life. If they are not hurting anyone, I have female friends that travel a lot and could care less what they do abroad. Yeah, but people, you got to think about it like this, T-Mac. Now, I agree with you in terms of if you would, like, if you're not dating this person or they're not a potential partner, or they don't pay your bills, they don't, like, it's nothing, this is just a we know each other or platonic or casual thing, then I understand, like, your point. Like, why does it matter to you so much? But then there's that other side to it where I do understand why a man or a woman who is interested in dating somebody would be concerned as to why someone travels a lot. You know, because you gotta think about it like this. If this person, I can understand a man being nervous about dating me because I travel, because then it's like, well, what if something happens in a relationship? She don't give a damn about just picking up and leaving and going to a whole other country, which they would be accurate. So you better act right, because I will get gone on that ass and you will never see me again. So that is something to be concerned about. It is reasonable for a man to to wonder, well, how is she paying for all of this if he wants to date me? That is reasonable for him to be concerned as to if I have a whole bunch of sugar daddies that I'm sleeping with, because then it's either he don't want to deal with a woman that had all that going on, or it could be another issue of is she willing to give all that up? A lot of women don't want to get into relationships with men who pay for sex because now that might put her health at risk. Or is he going to be willing to stop those behaviors once we get into a relationship? And that's perfectly reasonable. The problem is people being in people's damn business, and it's not even intimate enough for you to give a damn. You just want to know because you want to be nosy and talk shit. Word, mind your business, facts. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Happy birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Happy birthday, Mariah. Let's set up an interview on my channel. I would love to do that, Jamie. First of all, let me say this. I respect what you have going on. And I think I reviewed an interview that you did with Mr. Flip Flop. Shout out to you, Mr. Flip Flop. And I respect everything you have going on. So don't think that I'm on here talking shit about you, because I'm not. I just kind of disagree a little bit on what I feel like is that this is being framed as like the media created this issue. And I truly believe that this wouldn't have even been an issue, nor would people care about the men traveling, because men been doing this for so long, for decades. I said since World War I. The thing is, people didn't really know like that. And two, the issue that I see here is that men went viral dragging this into the gender war. So the blame, in my opinion, should not be placed on the media or the feminist women. It has to be placed with the men who made this a gender war issue. Because they could have went and did their thing and never brought American women into it. But when you stand for somebody, they're gonna come for you. And yeah, so that's all it is. That's all it is.
Because traveling was always supposed to be the white guys and, white girls. And of course, the sisters would go to like places like Jamaica and stuff like that. So even before the past,
I'll say this, women are not used to men traveling, the average men traveling. And y'all, the reason why I say this, y'all have to understand, when we are in relationships, women will tell you this, men who want to travel are rare. Who have a desire to travel for themselves for the sake of traveling, we are not used to coming across it, especially Black men. Most of the time, when you see a Black man traveling, it's because of a woman. And this is what I mean by that. He either got a wife or a girlfriend that dragged him along. Most men are content with just sitting up, watching a football, going to work, chilling, drinking them a cold beer. When their woman brings up travel, they be like, God damn, now I got to spend money. She always want to come spend my money. And men don't really have a good, they don't really think to travel until a woman kind of brings them into that experience. And then now they're like, oh, I'm glad I did this. I had a good time. So it does seem rare or weird to a lot of women. So that's something y'all have to understand, that from a woman's perspective, why it might seem weird. Oh, of course, no doubt, no doubt. In the defense of the ones who does travel for that, the gender war is good enough reason. When you still mess with the ones that talk bad about you or your kind, well, yeah, and I agree. You should not date people who don't like you or don't want good for you at all. At all. Thank you. So, and that's why I say people should go where they can win.
Celebrate, not tolerate.
Celebrate, not tolerate. And that's why I've always said people should have the right to go date within a dating market that best suits them.
for bros, it was like triggering for bros in general to be traveling. Even when it was like Black men travels, we was having issues.
But you know what, man? The comment what you said about Jamaica, it's funny because there's like a double standard that's going on with traveling, right? Like solo travelers, that is, or group travels, right? Because it's not even just solo, but also you get criticized for going on boys trip as well, right? So boys trips.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like girls, solo travelers or female groups, they can go to Jamaica, Dubai, Miami, Europe, and these are places that are known like, because a lot of the girls, like what they do is that they'll hook up with the locals or whatever from these countries, and it's okay for them to do that, but it's not okay for the men to do that. You know, I mean, Dubai is the sugar baby.
I'm gonna explain the difference. Now I'm gonna explain it. Yeah, let's explain it. Now, Dubai, I'm gonna be so for real. Y'all know I used to work in a strip club. Most of the time when them women going over there to Dubai, they engaging in some type of prostitution. Period. Especially if they're going by themselves and it's not work related. I think why it doesn't get as much people don't. Here's the reality of the matter. People see somebody engaging in prostitution as a necessity. It's not. People aren't necessarily. If you selling cat, people don't necessarily see you as the same way as somebody that's buying the cat, because they assume whether it's true or not true. Because some women just sell cat because they like to do it and they lazy. But they assume, why would you do this unless you had to do it, or unless you were put in a predicament where you had to do it? So they're not charged with the same moral culpability as somebody going to actually buy it. Another thing is, yes, there are women who are going to Jamaica and paying for peen. Now, I can't relate, but apparently women might want a certain type, and because of the way they look, they can't attract it. So they're going for, they're willing to pay for it. And they're sleeping with the locals. But here's the thing with women. Women don't go on vacations for the sole purpose of having sex. A lot of the times, and this is not all the time, but this is a majority of cases where women are traveling and they might sleep with a local. The travel is the main factor. And this is what the women are going to promote on their socials or to other people. And they just happen to stumble upon some peen. You understand? Versus with a lot of the men, that is the main, and this is not all, because there are men who go on boys retreats and things like that, but especially men who are going to particular countries. The purpose of the trip is to get some cut. You understand the difference? So it's going to be demonized. And then, okay, I'll put it to you like this. I'm friends with an older woman, and she was telling me why she left her child's father. And one of the reasons why she left her child's father is because he was on the phone talking to his friend. They were about to take a trip to Tijuana, and she didn't know what was going to happen. Her daughter comes and hears the conversation and goes back and tells the mom that he was talking about all the, explicit stuff that he was going to do. So that's the thing. It's like you get on the social media, you have a lot of these passport bros or whatever we want to call them, the bad apples in the group, who are promoting sex tourism, and then it just paints all men in that light. And that's the unfortunate reality, versus women are not as likely to get on the internet and brag about those kind of things. Gambia issued a warning to European women who travel for pay-for-play with locals. I think women are just more discreet. Exactly. Those Jamaican raft adventures appear to be deliberate. I'm not hating, just example. I mean, here's the thing. I didn't know about them until y'all started putting me onto it. And now I'm saying, oh, women are really traveling. Now, are we doing it in droves? Is there a mass movement of this? Here's another thing. Women don't get on the internet encouraging other women to do that. And this is why the double standard comes into play. Okay, let's continue.
Capital, one of the sugar baby capitals of the world. Same thing with Miami. But yet you have so many girls going there by droves, and they're not getting criticized or judged for that, because us men, we don't judge people for what they do. We, do what you do, right? We're not going to judge you for that.
I'll say this. Overall, men tend to be less judgmental of women. It just kind of depends on the man, honestly and truly. Because then you got these men like the Homies Hub, who, again, anytime women are exercising their sexual liberation, it's a problem. So I won't say men aren't as judgmental as a whole, but I say most regular men, if you get off the internet, they don't care as much as the internet tries to portray that they do.
You're a human being. You're an adult. You can do what you want. We're not going to come at you for going to Miami, Dubai. But yet, if I go to Colombia, the DR, Brazil, it's an instant issue. You got people on, YouTube or whatever, TikTok, making videos about, oh, these passport bros, these guys going over there, these hornballs, they're the losers, the leftovers. But that actually leads me to my next question, man, is, what do you think about that term that they're tossing around, saying that passport bros are like the leftover men of the world, of the West?
Well, what's funny, man, being from Atlanta, being in the, music video industry, doing film production and stuff like that, I was always kind of, around, beautiful women, so in Atlanta, of course. So it's like, it never was an issue as far as dating is concerned, or going out on dates. We have like a hookup culture in America for the most part.
I believe him. I've seen plenty of men that look just like him in the United States that got a woman. I absolutely believe him.
Part in every corner of the United States. So I don't think it was a situation where guys couldn't get laid, basically. It was a situation where guys were trying to find something, a woman to actually have a long-term relationship with and maybe even bear a child with. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the issue kind of came in. And keep in mind,
and this is where the discrepancy comes in. I got to say this, and I said this at the beginning. You can't say the men are leaving because they're having a hard time finding a woman for marriage, and it's just the hookup culture in the United States. But then you have a lot of these men who are coming on here and saying that the hookup culture is a problem, right? That women having all these bodies. Oh, we don't want to be with all these women with a whole bunch of bodies, and baby mama culture and all that. You know what I'm saying? But then you're going abroad, and a lot of these men, I'm gonna keep a stack with y'all. Some of y'all are not gonna like this. A lot of that shit that these men complain about, when it comes to American women, they don't give a damn when they go abroad. I have seen men take women off the host roll and be like, I gotta wife her. She that damn fine. These men will get with baby mothers, move her and the kids in, pay all the bills. I have literally, here's the thing, I see a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and there's a lot of backbiting. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't even want nobody. There's so much that goes on. And then on top of that, it's very hard for women to buy the whole I'm looking for a traditional wife thing, and that's why I left. When a lot of the times, even on some of these good men, Austin Holloman again is one that I will continue to bring up because now he's in a relationship with a beautiful girl. Shout out to him for growth. I'm definitely not like trying to knock him or knock the growth. I'm just saying because he was the first one to go viral, the one that people is the most recognizable. Even Austin Holloman was complaining about women not being traditional, or it being so hard to get, sex from women or women playing games. But then we saw him running through all these beautiful women, whether it was pay for play or not. He would have videos showing all the women because, again, that's what got engagement. He was young. That was the place he was in his life. But an outsider looking in will go, that man is not looking for a traditional relationship because he's dog walking traditional. He's still just sleeping with them and going on to the next country. And now she played herself because you all on camera with your business out there. Y'all understand? I don't think anyone cares as much as the internet. Probably true.
Black men travel with passport bros. That all was like a solution to the red pill and to the, dating woes of the West. It was a solution. And when you bring a solution to a problem that was never supposed to be solved in the first place, you're going to have a boatload of issues or naysayers is coming out. Like passport bros is so popular, bro. You got, actors and everything, Mission and Passport Bros on podcasts out of the blue, dissing us and everything like that, calling us this and calling us that. But we got an issue within the Black community regardless. We got a bigger issue where they think that, your masculinity is defined by street stuff. Like, how many charges you got? Did you do time? Or, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like, that's an issue in itself, and you're talking to somebody who went to private school, but also spent time in the projects. You see what I'm saying? So I saw a little bit of both worlds. And I saw how, people that didn't grow up with a dad in the home, like idolized the drug dealers and the rappers and the gangsters. Well, I grew up with them and I didn't idolize them at all because I was like, but because of that, the women kind of put those men in the forefront and they give them, more credence early on in their, dating cycle. And then they'll spend the good guys that went to school to, take up the after effects.
I agree with that, but here's where we're, first of all, yes, we do have that issue in the Black community. And y'all have to understand a lot of this was promoted through a lot of the rap music that we were fed by the industry, and it was felicitated with the help of Black males. A lot of these men went to private school and stuff like that. They become a rapper, they're selling that image. And I said this before, this is where people have to have grace for each other. That whole industry is pushed to be promoted to children. So when you feed an idea of masculinity to women early on and to young boys early on, not only did the girls buy into it, a lot of young men bought into it. You pretending to be a gangster and you like anime. You can't even be yourself. So we can't really blame the opposite sex because we were groomed from a young age. And on the flip side, women can say the same thing. Y'all were fed, y'all was watching these music videos, watching the video vixens on the boat, bad bitches, small waist, fat ass. So a lot of the nerdy boys wanted her. Y'all didn't want the girl that was nerdy like you. You didn't want the girl who was more looks compatible with you. You want the bad bitch just like the bad bitches want the thugs. A lot of the men don't pay attention to the nerdy chick until after the bad bitches don't want them no more, or they've been rejected so many times, and now they just find somebody that is like, well, might as well. A sixth of God is called it the might as well wife, but you don't really want her. Another thing too, it's not always that simple. With age comes maturity and better priorities. So you might see something in somebody that you weren't able to see before because you were immature. And that's why I'm saying these conversations are not being had from a place of, and I'm not strictly talking about what he's saying here. It's just what I hear about from all people who didn't necessarily have the juice early on in life. These type of conversations that are rooted in bitterness and vengeance. Life is not perfect. It's not going to always work out the way you want it to work out. There are people who have to grow into their looks. There are people who have to become better over time. There are people who have to mature over time. And the fact of the matter is, y'all, we all are getting older. So whether it's you're going to have to deal with a kid, or you're going to have to deal with a man that got a couple baby mamas, or you're going to have to deal with a man who might have did something in their past and they went to jail, or you're going to have to deal, like, there are so many things. I can talk about so many different things, but the problem is, as people are getting older, y'all are expecting perfect human beings, and for people to have always made the right decision from a very young age, and that's just completely irrational, in my opinion. Now, am I encouraging you to put up with stuff that you don't want to put up with? No, if you don't want to be a stepdad or a stepmom, don't be it. But understand that that might actually be the reason why things like that might actually be the reason why you don't find somebody that really rocks with you and fuck with you for you. I'm just being 1000% honest. And I'm saying this as somebody who I don't feel like I have, people might think I do. I'm very reasonable and forgiving with people for certain things if I've seen that there's growth in maturity. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. They wanted everyone to be hip. If even the anime chicks was going for the gangsters, that man had to make adjustments. Yeah. That's the problem. Nobody's perfect. And everybody walking around like they shit don't stink. That's the problem.
Stepdads and stuff. So that's what they really mad about. They feel like the simp pool and the stepdaddy pool is drying up because guys is getting their passports and going overseas and finding genuine relationships.
Y'all, I mean, I'm gonna be. I don't hear this conversation from women. I think that's a narrative created by men. Women are not complaining most women are not complaining that they can't find a stepdaddy, and even a lot of the men that are leaving abroad, the women don't. Y'all, let me say this: if you are an attractive woman, there are no shortage of men who are willing to be a stepdad. A lot of y'all are going abroad and being stepdads. That's just the reality of the matter. And I've seen it for myself. Some of y'all are starting whole families from scratch. Shout out to y'all. But a lot of these men are going abroad and being stepdads. Still. Furthermore, y'all got to look at it like this, especially if we're going to talk about it in terms of the Black community, which is where this conversation went. A stepdaddy is the reason why a lot of y'all had lights on, or you got something under the Christmas tree for Christmas. And then we complain that it's YN culture and a lot of these Black men are running amok. It's going to continue to get worse because guess what? Here's the thing. You can't just blame the women. A lot of these men are choosing not to be present. And yeah, you can say the women should have chose better. Cool. Yeah, she should have. But the man should have chose to be there. But they're not. And a lot of the reason why a lot of these men won't talk about it that's moving abroad, they had a stepdaddy or an uncle daddy that kept shit up and running in that apartment. So y'all don't think about when y'all are trying to like encourage, because here's the thing, the fact that a lot of y'all got to keep encouraging men, it's like I got to keep talking to men, shaming them for being a stepdad. I have men who come tell me, yeah, I fuck with such and such, but you know, she's the baby mom, but you know, I don't really care. I like her. And it's like, why are you whispering? Why do you feel the need to like, why are you talking to me like this is something that you should be ashamed of? And it's like a lot of y'all don't understand you're doing harm to a lot of young Black men. Y'all want to say the system is rigged against them, but yet y'all are shaming men who otherwise would have been down to be a stepdad in a relationship with a woman that was down for them to not even want to step into that. And now these young Black men are being raised without father figures. And guess what that does? That does more to further tarnish the Black male image once they start getting into trouble. So that's what I'm saying. This conversation is not being had with the nuance that it deserves. Furthermore, let's talk about it. We keep saying, oh, it's none of nobody's business what the men are traveling and doing abroad if they're doing it in private and woo. Why is it your business that the next man decide he want to be a stepdad? Y'all be ready to bully like we in high school. Oh, you a simp, you this and that. Meanwhile, he probably got a woman that like him and treating him better than you probably sitting up lonely and alone talking that shit and can't get nobody to fuck with you for real. This not all of them, but it's a good amount. Now you sitting up, you ought to be running to be somebody's stepdad. I'm just being honest. Now me, again, the type of men that I like, this is not me trying to convince y'all of nothing, because the type of men that I like never care. They don't care about that. Y'all be like, oh, well, they'll fuck y'all, but they won't be with y'all. No, that's not my story. That's not my reality. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also a woman that don't mind dating a man that has kids. So it's not nothing it's not a big deal.
Wow, I mean, you kind of nailed it there, to be honest with you, man. Like, you really broke it down from the root. And I think that's exactly what's going on, man. I think there's a lot of people that are angry about what's going on, where, you know, these quote unquote leftover guys are actually good people, could be potential great husbands. And I think they've realized, you know what, I'm seeing BMT doing his thing. I see Austin, because that like, back to what I was saying, you know, before, is I don't think that whole passport bro stuff, like, they're not leftover men. These are great men, like yourself, for example. My boy Zoe.
Some are. Not all of them are. Some are. But I understand being offended. Some really genuinely, let's be so for real. We gonna have leftover men and leftover women. I meet women all the time where I be like, I understand why don't nobody fuck with your ass. I understand why you ain't got no friends. I understand why you ain't got no man. I understand why you can't keep nobody in your life. You're just not a good person, or you need to work on your damn social skills. So some are. I understand why that can be hurtful, though, to be, for a whole group of people to be categorized as that. But again, here's the thing. The ones that genuinely are the leftovers are the ones that are most loudest, proudest, and problematic. Because let's be very clear. There are a lot of men who go do the weekend warrior thing, and you'll never hear them on the internet talking about it. Because why? Because they got a woman at home. I tell y'all this all the time. A good amount of these men who are traveling for sex, they do got a woman that love them and care about him and is praying to God every night that he stop cheating on her. Okay? She crying the whole damn trip, blowing that man phone up. Truth about the international stepdad, it's a thing. It's a thing, and it happens more often. They do not, when they see a woman that's fine enough, they don't be giving a damn. It's about the connection, as long as they don't make you look stupid for it. And I understand that. And my whole thing is, I understand why a lot of the men were like, hey, for example, if my daughter had a stepdad and he was doing for her, and she ever opened her mouth to say, you not my daddy, she would get that ass toe out the front. But women have to learn to talk to their children about how they should respect it. Now, no, if the man is like really wrong or doing something bad to the kid, you never choose that man over the kids. But like, if somebody's treating you right, doing for you, but also trying to enforce discipline because you live under their roof and they're putting food in your mouth, you never did. It don't matter whether or not that man is or is not your daddy. Why would you even say that? If there's a certain level of respect that needs to be had. So I get that part for sure. A lot of people don't mind that kind of stuff as long as they don't feel dumb. And you're absolutely right about that.
Shout out to Zoe, you know, Austin Howman, Dawn Banks, all these guys, right? I don't think they're leftover men. These are guys that can go to the US and get anybody at this point, right? I just think they were like, you know what? Like, there's, you know, it's not worth, like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, basically. They're like, you know what?
Well, let me be so for real, Jamie. We saw when, okay, I remember there was a time where Austin, and this shit didn't make sense to me. Austin, I was watching a live he did. I always liked Austin, even when he was doing his young thing, because I think he's hilarious. Like, his personality, he be talking shit and he don't really be trying to. He's funny without trying. So ever since he went viral, I was like, I know I'm not supposed to like this man, but he was like my guilty pleasure, so to speak. Because I saw Tanya TKO went off on him and I was like, well, he making some sense to me. But I remember he went back to Dallas and he got on, I think he got on Tinder, and he was on live with his subscribers. And it was very clear that some of the women he were talking to were looking for a relationship and he was really just looking to have sex. So, I mean, that was very clear. He was looking to hook up. And he was like talking shit about, oh, these women play games, this and that. And it's like, but is she wrong? Is she wrong? Because at the end of the day, Austin, you're just going to have sex with her and going on about your business. So is she wrong for not letting you use her? Let's be reasonable here. Y'all can't be mad at people for not letting you play them.
Somewhere else where there's a lot more potential, I can actually find someone that I can grow with. And because they're filming it and putting it on camera, it's going back to the United States, and a lot of these females are getting upset about it, you know. And right. What they're saying is to better cope with what's going on is they're like, oh, these are the leftover men. We didn't want y'all anyways. But yet they're always watching videos, reacting to the videos. You know? So it really doesn't make any sense. But that's actually what's going on right now, man.
Exactly.
You're going to have, of course, people within the travel community that try to kind of detach themselves from that term passport bro. And they try to make it seem like they're not a passport bro. They haven't, you know, even though they might have called themselves a passport bro before, right? But now with everything that's going on, they're trying to detach themselves. They, oh, no, you know, they're over there. I'm here. I'm different from these people, you know? And they'll say things like, oh, these passport bros ruined Sosua. They ruined Medellin. You know, do you think that the passport bros, the quote unquote passport bros, have ruined Sosua and Medellin?
No, not at all. I think like the sneak cam dudes really, you know, played a large part in that role. But like I said before, man, passport.
So you can't say that. I mean, you can say that. I'm going to have to disagree with that, sir. Just because it doesn't matter. Okay, now he gave us his definition, a sensible definition, because he coined the term of what a passport bro is. But it doesn't matter what you think it is, BNT. You may have coined the term. It might have started out in the right spirit. But what people perceive it to be is the reality. You could shout to the rooftop all day long that those are not passport bros. It doesn't matter, because in the court of public opinion, a passport bro also includes the sex tourist. And there's nothing that you're going to say to change the majority of people's mind. And not just that, these men said they were passport bros. They got out here and publicly claimed it on the internet. And at first, the men were not checking them. And you have some men now on the back end trying to do the damage control. Again, Andre is constantly calling them out, but it's too late. And it's to the point where the only thing that there is to do, and the reasonable thing to do, is to completely disassociate from that term. It's a self-preservation thing. It's easier for you to dissociate from that term and just explain to people that I'm traveling and investing abroad, and of course I'm going to date where I'm at. It's easier for you to do that than to try to change people's mind about what a passport bro is. And that might be perceived as people jumping shit, but people got to do what they got to do out here. People have to do what they have to do out here. And I honestly don't think it's not, if you're somebody who's genuinely out here investing, using economic arbitrage, traveling the world, why weigh yourself down with so much baggage when you could easily just say, this ain't that, or I don't have shit to do with that? Kind of like the same thing that happened with the Black Lives Matter movement. It started with good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now it's come out, they had so much damn fraud going on within the official organization. Those people people who don't want to go to jail have no choice but to say, I ain't got shit to do with that. Completely dissociate from it. To be honest, it's mostly incels who are looking for submissive women. Don't get me wrong, not all women do right either, but passport bros are literally just incels trying to have financial dominance over women. I think a lot of a lot of the men who are coming on with the online rhetoric are. Because let me tell you something. This is what most men who've been able to get females know. If you being a man in a relationship and you know when to be firm and put your foot down and when to let go, and you know how to put that thing on her, they don't got to have conversations about being submissive in their relationship. And yeah, there are some women who are just disrespectful people. You'll be able to see that by how they treat other people in their life. You know, there's a certain amount of men that's quality, but all the ones of equal are looking for higher, and the ones of lower are completely incompatible. If that makes sense. No, it makes sense. Hey, chosen one. I'm old school. Before the term passport bros, we simply called ourselves expat. Yeah, the men should have just stuck with that. But I get it. I get wanting to have your own space, but y'all just let it get out of hand. Certain shit should have been checked from the beginning.
Passport bros is more so about a mindset and an ideology, than like any type of form of membership or club or anything like that. And it's funny, man, because early on, I always tried to attract a certain type of guy to this term. Guys that, understand that, like you said before early in the interview, that, hey, man, we kind of on a thin line. Like Black Americans, it's cool to be Black American overseas because a lot of times you celebrate it and you're popular, but we want to keep that, that image good. Like we don't want to sully our image. And unfortunately, a lot of guys who just been traveling in general who don't even associate themselves with the term passport bros is kind of sullying up the image, man. Like, the hood is on game as far as travels. You got guys that's trying to skip bail and go to Bali, skip to Thailand and stuff because they know about the travel game now. So, it's unfortunate, but all we can do is just hold the line of what we define as passport bros. We're not going to let the media define it.
I don't think it's worth it to choose passport bros as the hill to die on. It's just not worth it. You can do the same thing that you're doing. Nothing gotta stop. Men can keep traveling, dating abroad, marrying abroad, investing abroad without attaching themselves to something that's so all this hold the line for what? Is it really worth it? Especially when most people that call themselves being within that movement can't even define it. Y'all don't know if it's just he can because he coined the term. But it's so much arguments and infighting and what is a passport bro? What isn't? Is it a Black man? Is it a white man? Is it all men? Are they sex packs? Are they just businessmen practicing geographical arbitrage? Like y'all can't even define. So y'all having too many arguments to just be emotionally attached to that.
We're not going to allow the media to just point at anybody that do something effed up and be like, oh, he must be a.
It's not about whether or not you're going to allow the media to do it. That's what they're going to do. There's nothing you can do about it. You can push back. Again, you could try to convince people, but ultimately that's going to fail. That's a losing battle.
Passport, bro. Mm-hmm. He probably don't even know the name of it. Like he probably don't even know the term. And that's what's been happening. Like the media just says, oh, you traveling, you from the West, you're a passport, bro. And I've had, I'm not even gonna say arguments, but debates with guys that do that because that's a dangerous thing. That's like no difference than me seeing a white guy and calling him a Nazi. He might not be a Nazi at all. You know what I'm saying? He might not be a perv at all. It's like me seeing a black guy and just automatically calling him a pookie just because he's black. You know what I mean? Like that's dangerous ground that we on. A lot of times, some of these even publications that write and false frame the passport bros, they'll put a retraction out once I contact them or my lawyer contacts them, but you'll never see it. You see what I'm saying? Because I tell them, hey, man, that's illegal what you're doing, right? You know what I'm saying? They might say, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You got us. Okay, we'll retract it. And it'd be like one little line. Oh, by the way, we're retracting the story we did 6 months ago on the Floyd situation in Brazil. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing.
It just comes with the territory of being a popular term.
Here's the thing. Floyd said he was a passport bro. So you can't really blame the media. And honestly and truly, if it went to court, BMT, you would lose. You would lose. Unless he has some type of, I don't know, legal, maybe he does, legal trademark or definition, maybe he does. But it still stands that Floyd claimed to be a passport bro. So you can't say the media was wrong for painting him as that, when that's what he said he was. And then he got caught out there messing with them little kids, with them children. Is that the media trying to paint a false narrative, or is that the media reporting Floyd as what he said he was? It's like the evolution of gang culture in comparison. Exactly.
Man.
Yeah, I know you kind of did mention the Floyd situation.
I was like the first guy that reported it. You know, I was the first guy that brought it to the forefront. You know what I mean? Like Floyd is a weirdo. I always thought he was a little bit of a weirdo. So I wasn't like shocked and appalled. But yeah, it's really unfortunate what happened. And if he's guilty of that, man, he should get the total effects of the Brazilian law. That's some sick stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, so I made a video a while back when the Floyd situation happened, because I actually interviewed Floyd almost 2 years ago. That's how long it's been. And even then I noticed something. But the reason for me mentioning Floyd isn't to talk about the case, because it is what it is at this point. We all know what happened. I'm not going to go over the specifics of the case, but I want to talk about the effects of what happened and the damage it's done on the travel space. Because, you know, we all know, I mean, Floyd isn't the only one doing, you know, foolery overseas. There's a lot of people doing silly stuff overseas. It just so happens to be Floyd was the one that was caught. But I remember when the Floyd stuff happened, I was very upset. And not only because of what Floyd did, but also because I understood what was going to come after. There was going to be a witch hunt, right? They're going to pin this on the passport bros, on men that travel overseas, on colored men specifically, right? Like not to make this about them versus us type of thing, because it's not. But I felt like the black travelers were the one that were definitely targeted after this. And it made it seem like all black travelers are
Hold on. That's a fair point, Jamie, because I said this before on my Instagram. The majority of the men who are traveling to engage in pedophile behavior are not black men. Now, to be clear, oh no. Somebody playing music loud. Child, I'm in the DR. I'm just going to have to edit that out if they demonetize it. Here's the thing. Is pedophile behavior just a white man behavior? Let me be clear. That's not true. And the stats in the United States say otherwise. But what I will say is this. Traveling to engage in pedophile behavior, that does seem to be an activity that white males primarily engage in. They are far more likely to go hop on a plane just to do it. So, and that's who I see, like, anytime there a pedophile case in Medellin where an American or a foreigner gets deported, majority of the time it is a white person or a white man.
That only black travelers are the ones that are doing this, when that's not the truth. It just so happened to be this one guy got caught and he so happened to be black, right? But that doesn't mean all black travelers. But they pinned it on the passport bros. They pinned it on black brothers traveling overseas. And it got me upset, because now it's like, now we got to fight even harder. And it was already an uphill battle as was, you know, but now it's going to be even more tougher. And the amount of adversity that a lot of us have.
No, you don't. You don't got to fight. You just let. I ain't a passport, bro. People ask too much and you want to explain. Really, it's none of your business. But if I feel like explaining, I'm traveling for culture, investment. I wouldn't be fighting none of that. I don't like going against the grain. I want to make my life as easy as possible. Okay.
Had to face for these last couple months because of what happened was extremely unfair. But it just goes to show the strength of this community that, you know, we're able to get past anything. Because as you know, BMT, the Floyd situation isn't the only thing that's happened over the last couple of years that has put a dent in the community. There have been other incidents, and no matter what, we get through it.
It's unfortunate because there was a
Here's the
pretty
thing.
major
That
media
you gonna
outlet
get through
that,
it.
you know,
Hold on.
involved.
Yeah, you gonna have certain men that just on your own merit, you working hard, you out here trying to do the right thing, you making a name for yourself, and you know you're out here moving correctly. You as an individual are gonna get through it, and you're gonna have friends that's gonna get through it. Y'all are not gonna be able to do anything. You know, if y'all continue to attach yourself to this term, you finna get through it and have to constantly be trying to explain yourself. Passport bros as a term is never going to be able at this point to repair their reputation. It's kind of like this. Let me put it to you this way, Jane. If you cheated on a woman, do you know how hard it is? Do you know how long it's going to take for you to change her perception of you, even when you're trying to do the right thing? She gonna always, in the back of her mind, classify you as a cheater. And look, here's the thing. You might go years, 10 years without cheating on her. The first time she finds something in your phone or you have a conversation that make it look like you was doing something, you might not even been doing it. She gonna go right back to you're a cheater. You're gonna get that label put right back on you. So it's a losing battle. That don't mean you can't win. That don't mean y'all got to stop doing what you're doing. You are very disingenuous. Floyd said he was not a passport bro. I'm not a passport bro either. But don't lie on him. I'm not trying to lie. I never heard Floyd say he was not a passport bro. So if he came down the line and said he's not a passport bro, then I didn't see that. I'm not intentionally trying to lie. I'm not being disingenuous. But here's the fact of the matter. Whether or not he did or did not say he was a passport bro or come back and say he not, it don't matter. This is the point I'm trying to make. TF7389. And you always leave negative comments. That's fine. I'm gonna let you leave your negative comments, right? You don't really interact with me in good faith. It don't matter. The world thinks he's a passport bro. And there's nothing people can do to change you. Absolutely not. And guess what? The more they see these negative stories, the more it's going to feed into that. It's just a snowball effect. So it don't really matter. He can call himself what he want to call himself. Thank you, Chosen One. I appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Bless y'all. Yeah, he just being sensitive. I'm not trying to be disingenuous. And I ain't trying to lie on nobody. I think I've been very, very fair in my assessment. This is the most fairness y'all gonna really get out of any woman in the travel space.
The passport bros, they false framed the passport bros in order for the story to get out there more and to have more legs. They attached it to a popular term. But, you know, I contacted them, you know, it had no legs whatsoever. There was no investigation. You can't investigate a term or anything like that. It's like saying that, a Republican got caught doing something crazy. Is that all Republicans? But unfortunately, and I did contact, all the media outlets, and we went back and forth and everything like that. They know they did was illegal. But also on the flip side, Black YouTube just really ran with it. You had certain content creators that wanted to monetize it. So they kept, putting video after video after video, tying this called Passport Bros into it. And it's unfortunate, it didn't get outside of the small niche of, Black YouTube or anything like that, because Passport Bros is such a big, huge, popular term. The same day you have popular white creators with millions of subscribers speaking on the Passport Bros and why they exist and giving like balanced opinions on the ideology of Passport Bros. So that it was really not to say that, you know, it was contained or anything like that, like it didn't reach out, but it really didn't have no legs because it's one individual, you know, and if you do.
That's not true. It's more than one individual. And if y'all think people are not on TikTok seeing what these men who are out, these sexpats are doing, you are sorely mistaken. People are seeing it. It's having reach. Don't think just because it's a black person or a black man, it don't have any reach. You'd be surprised of what gets put into people's algorithm. And it wasn't just one person. It's a lot of men on YouTube right now making that kind of content. It ain't just no one or two. Now, what I will say that the media could have probably done a better job of doing, and I like that CNN gave Austin Holloman the opportunity to do this, is trying to present both sides of the narrative. They could have did that. I'm not sure how much of a difference it would have made, though. But they could have done that. I'll be fair.
Proper, responsible, investigations, like, responsible media. If you actually did it, you will see that he detached himself. And I played that clip. When he said, "Hey, I'm not a passport bro." I played that clip in my live. So he detached himself once he figured out, okay, I can't capitalize off this term because it's guys that actually, utilize this term. He was just trying to capitalize off the popularity of the term. And like I said, he detached himself years before that incident. Years before.
Okay.
We hadn't even seen anything from Floyd in the travel space.
Okay, so maybe that, yeah. Okay, so again, he was claiming to be a passport bro at first, and then he detached himself. So again, I knew I wasn't tripping. But guess what? People only remember what the information that they've seen, right? So he could have detached himself, but then somebody put out a clip of him saying years ago, they talking about he a passport bro. Guess what? People gonna associate him with being a passport bro.
It's for years. He went back to America. He was an e-beggar. He was a weirdo. He was an incel, all the above. Austin kind of put him on just to kind of, embarrass him, basically, to have somebody joke on and pick on or not pick on, but to, roast in his streams and stuff like that. So he was always a joke, man. But like I said, I want to elaborate because it's a real messed up situation.
Mm-hmm.
Passport Bros is much bigger than some haters just, trying to attach one individual with the ideology of the Passport Bros.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the point that there are certain guys that travel, and what they'll do is that they'll associate themselves with the community, with the Passport Bro community, and call themselves Passport Bros. Just to get some clout off of it, just to get views, because they know that's going to get views. And even though they don't believe in the ideology and they don't practice it, they're going to coin it because they're trying to get that money. And in this situation, with his situation, that's exactly.
Yeah, and here's the thing. As YouTubers, we all have to do it. You have to feed the algorithm gods. It's an unfortunate reality of this game.
Exactly what happened, and it really it wasn't a good look for the community, even though he wasn't a part of it. But of course, people are going to label him as a passport bro when in reality he really wasn't. Glad we spoke about this because it was something that I really wanted to clear up, because there are still going to be people out there, and naysayers are going to say, "Oh, Flo was a passport bro. Passport bros are PDF files. They go overseas and they get with minors and shit," and that's not the truth. Here's
the thing. You're never going to get people who are intent on misunderstanding you to understand you. There are a lot of people who are not even willing to listen to this or have this conversation. It is what it is. You're never going to have 100% of people agree with you. And I even get pushback as a woman, because I'll try to explain I will try to explain a lot of these same things that the men say to women, and they don't really, they're not interested. A lot of them are not interested in the conversation anymore. Like, they were cool if we were just going to sit up together and just completely go in without trying to understand the other side. And that's not a women problem. That's just like, that's how people are.
It's a minority group of Western men from these Western countries that go to Colombia and these countries that engage in that. But none of these people are actual passport bros or legit travelers. These are just sick people that they know they can't do that shit here in the States. So they'll go overseas and they'll do that shit overseas. And then, of course, when they get caught, now the media wants to say, oh, it's a passport bro. When in reality, that's not the truth.
Yeah. I think this was a good, I don't agree with some of the stuff that was said during the interview, but overall, I do think it was a good interview. Hold on. And it was a discussion that needs to be had. I do understand why BNT, as somebody who coined the term, feels the need to, you know, protect his baby. But unfortunately, it's just grown beyond him, you know, even though he coined it. It's something, it's like creating Frankenstein's monster. You can't control it anymore, or it's not going to be what you originally intended it for. And again, is the movement necessarily over? That word is in trouble, but I do think Black men will continue to travel. As long as they're acting right and taking care of their responsibilities, they'll continue to be able to be travel, go abroad, get married, invest. I don't think anybody's stopping that train. But I do think if there are men who continue to act a fool, and this is what I've always tried to say when I say certain things are not for the internet, you're supposed to go and do your dirt and be quiet about it. The unfortunate reality is travel will become stricter, not just for Black men, but for all Americans. Because as people in these countries get upset, they will demand that their local government or their federal government do something about it. So these bad apples in the group, whether they're calling themselves passport bros or not, they do pose a threat to all Americans who want to travel abroad and freely without restriction or being put under a microscope. And the reality of the matter is, when it's majority of the time the men doing this, y'all are going to feel it before the rest of us. For example, a digital nomad passport, the digital nomad visa in Colombia. Most of the time, if you're a woman and you apply for a digital nomad visa, they're not going to ask you for a background check. They will ask the men 100% of the time for a background check, even though it's discretionary. I have a friend who is married and she applied for a visa with her husband. They did not ask her for her background check for the digital nomad visa. Her husband had to provide one though. So it's going to affect the men first, but then eventually that will trickle down to the general population of Americans. And this is why I have stressed that this is something that we need to make it a priority to get under control. Whether you consider yourself an original passport bro or a woman or whatever the case may be, we have to continue to call out this bad behavior. And with that said, guys, that's really all that I have to offer y'all tonight. It is my birthday. So, are you Daddy? You talking about me? Right. You back there talking shit. Y'all see how you do me? He's on some thank you. They ready for me to get out here. Anyway, so with that said, guys, if you are interested in doing making money off of travel, doing travel marketing, check out my comment section. We have meetings where you can find out how to do it. Follow me on social media. Also, if you are interested in, if you already work for tech or you're interested in getting into tech, I have partnered with a tech staffing company. If you sign up with the staffing agency, they can get you interviews within that first week. Also, if you don't have the credentials, they can send you to a tech boot camp and you can get trained. Now, you got to pay for the tech boot camp, but all things in life require an investment, and this will give you location freedom to where you can move abroad and earn in US dollars. These are all tech startups. So they're trying to what it is they're having an issue finding qualified people to hire, but the positions are available. And I have an interview on here with my girl Z, who actually went through the boot camp. So if you're interested in that, go in my comment section. There's a link in the comment section for that. And you can set an appointment. The recruiter will call you and talk to you. So for those of y'all who are like, how do I work abroad? Or how do I do this? Or I don't know how to make money. I'm telling you now, I'm trying to teach you how to fish. Okay. With that said, thank you for going live with us. Have a very blessed birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hello, Mariah. This stream looks lit. It was good. You came in at the end. You got to catch the replay, Morgan. All right. Y'all have a blessed night.